Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. This is an important evening, one that we deal with every year, but one that when we leave, we usually feel stronger in community, and we're really thankful that you're here tonight. We're going to start off with our development director, Robin Gao, for a land acknowledgement. Robin?
Took the weirdest way possible I could have gotten up here. Hello, everybody. The Lehigh Valley encompasses the ancestral homelands of Munsee and Lenni Lenape and Susquehannock peoples, and is a place many, many indigenous people from across Turtle Island, the Caribbean, and South America call home. I always have complicated feelings about land acknowledgements because they often have the tone of saying, "We're acknowledging this was stolen." I like to do them, though, because I want to remind everyone that indigenous people are still here, just like trans people are still here, despite their attempts to erase us. This is particularly important as we remember those we've lost to transphobic violence. The violence of colonization continues in many formats, but one is through the missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, and Two-Spirit crisis. Indigenous women and girls are murdered at 10 times higher the rate of any other ethnicities. We lack clear statistics on the rates for Two-Spirit and trans Indigenous peoples murdered, but we know the rates are high. And these crises are not separate. We can no longer just acknowledge the systems that are killing us. We must take action to dismantle them. Despite displacement and centuries of violence, the Lenape and Susquehannock people still are preserving their cultures here and traditions today and finding ways to care for this land. We must support them and other intertribal organizations that continue this work. I am part of one called Widoktadwen, which is a Center for Native Knowledge out of Berks County, but there are many, many more. Indigenous lives are sacred, trans lives are sacred. Thank you. And now I'm going to read a short poem, and then I will pass it to Reverend Gowdy. I usually read other people's poems for Tidor, but today I actually wrote one. It is a found poem, and a found poem is a poem that you piece together from clippings of other people's words, and this poem is made from what people have said about loved ones or people that they knew who were killed. And this poem is called Favorite Color. Her favorite color was black. Her favorite color was purple. She loved lace. She was a Scorpio. She could never end. We were just eating pizza last night, and the moon had so many arms. She liked to rest her head on my shoulder, had planned to run away with her to the south. He took me under his wing. They wore so much glitter. She really thought she would be a ghost. He carried all the grocery bags in at once. We could have been dentists. We wanted to write a book. She loved the color green. She wanted to settle down. I wish I would have settled down with her. We would have stayed on the phone all night if we had known. Every month, we bury a daughter. She was a woman of faith. She owned a 5-pound statue of the Virgin of Guadalupe. She always fed the dog before herself. She was my favorite person. I wish she could tell me who she was with that night. And the people whose quotes I took these from were Relasia Wright, Rita Hester, Lilia Holland, Dream Johnson, Giovanni Fortes de Silva, Cajal, Chabela Rodriguez, Linda Barcera Moran, Guadalupe Ares, Blair A. Sawyer, and a person who was once known. Thank you, and I'm passing it to Reverend Gowdy.
Welcome to Metropolitan Community Church of the Lehigh Valley for this Transgender Day of Remembrance service. We're also known by our initials, MCCLV. We are honored to co-host with the PA Trans Equity Organization to observe this important day of remembering beloved transgender brothers, sisters, and siblings taken from us far too soon. We also want to welcome tonight those who are joining us online on the live stream. So I'm Reverend Gowdy, that rhymes with howdy. I use they, them pronouns. I've pastored here at MCCLV for few decades, and MCCLV is known as a minority community church. So a majority of people in the church identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender. We also tolerate cisgender and heterosexual folks. MCCLV first observed Transgender Day of Remembrance with the Renaissance organization 22 years ago in 2003. And that's when we were located on the south side of Allentown. May we never forget that there are religious organizations in the Lehigh Valley that have long welcomed and long celebrated transgender people. So we are in safe space this evening. We're also in courageous space. Every person here is safe to be who you are. And every person is invited to courageously serve the wider community in ways that are meaningful and authentic. For instance, MCCLV has multiple service opportunities every month with the Bethlehem Emergency Shelter as well as Phoebe Nursing Home. Additionally, there are many ways to serve within the church. We believe that each and every person has been gifted to serve. And so tonight, we not only remember beloved ones lost to anti-transgender violence, we also take a moment to remember that each of us was created out of love and hope. And so if you could repeat after me, I am loved. I am beautiful. I am holy. I am holy. I'm going to end tonight with words from St. Teresa of Avila. Teresa was a mystic. She was a religious reformer. And this quote comes from her book, Interior Castle. And Teresa wrote this: "It is here where the seasons of your interior life are held in this dwelling place, a radiant sanctuary of gratitude, worlds within worlds, forests, rivers, velvet coverlets thrown over feather beds, fountains bubbling beneath a canopy of stars, bountiful forests, universal libraries. This magnificent refuge is inside you. Enter. This is the single most beautiful place in all creation. In this moment, open wide your heart to offer thanks." And let all God's people say, Amen. And let's warmly welcome Brennig forward at this time.
Good evening, everyone. Transgender Day of Remembrance, let me start over. Transgender Day of Remembrance is a day where we talk a lot about death, but we also focus a lot on life. How did our trans sisters, brothers, and siblings live before they were taken from us? Who loved them? What dreams did they have? We talk about life a lot on nights like tonight. So on the topic of life and on the topic of living, I kind of wanted to talk to you guys about the elephant in the room, which is I want to talk about surviving. I want to talk about what it feels like to be here in this space right here, right now, saying names and sharing stories of those we've lost. But when I talk about these things, I do so in hopes that we can kind of find, I guess, solace in the collective grief process and healing in knowing that we're not alone in this. I'm sure that everyone has deep thoughts about Tidor, but these are some of the feelings that I've noticed kind of linger in the air around me. I notice that when I walk into the room for this, survivor's guilt walks in with me, hot on my heels like a shadow. I'm left sort of questioning, like, why it happened to somebody else, but it didn't happen to me. Every breath feels stolen. Every second not doing something about it feels wasted. But I guess if I really take the time to look at that shadow, it's not really guilt, it's more like responsibility. I feel responsible to live for them and to live better for them, to live a better life. I feel responsibility to do more for all of you who are here, for all of my trans loved ones who aren't here in this room right now, and for all the trans people that I'll never get the chance to meet. So I do want to thank everybody who's, stepping up to caretake within our community, those who've been fighting for our safety, and those who just live as an example of how fulfilling and beautiful the lives of trans people are. I notice that every year the weight on my heart gets heavier, and I don't talk a lot about it, but I still remember the names of trans people who died the year that I came out. I carry people I've never met in my heart every day. And it's hard for me, and I'm sure for a lot of us, to look at current events revolving around our community because it just always seems to be bad news. And it's hard to walk into this room and into these spaces knowing that I'm going to leave tonight with another name etched into my bones. So I want to thank everyone here who's shown up. I want to thank everybody on the live stream, of course, as well. Everybody who is doing their best to keep up to date with current events, to keep the rest of us who can't stand to look at the news anymore, to keep us informed. Like, you do such heavy lifting. And I want to thank everybody who still remembers names from last year and the year before that and the year before that. Another thing I notice is that every year I feel like I'm expecting to hear my own name. I fear every year that I'll have to say the name of someone I know personally. And while the pressure to show up for more things and participate in more marches and give more talks and be a bigger voice keeps mounting, there's also that fear that the spotlight is dangerous. And I know that's like super difficult to talk about, but I think it's worth talking about it because it isn't a fear that any of us should carry alone. And I'm sure that many of us have thought about whether or not it's more important to be safe or more important to show up. So I want to thank everyone who puts themselves in those places where they're seen and heard, everyone who's doing that work of educating people, correcting people, challenging people around them. That's not easy, even in your daily lives, that is not easy work. And I want to thank everyone who, went to their first rally or march or protest this year. And lastly, I notice it always feels so frustrating that it's difficult to get our cis friends to show up for us on days like this. I wonder sometimes if they feel guilty themselves, like guilty for not being unsafe as us, or guilty for not doing enough or not knowing what to do. But I also think it's just really hard to look death in the eye and not be changed by it. On nights like this, I feel like nobody wants to make eye contact with us because they don't want to get sucked into the grief that we're feeling. So I want to thank all of the non-trans people who are here for being with us, for supporting with us, and for crying with us. But really, I want to thank you for hearing us in these moments. But I also want to thank the trans people who invited our non-trans friends tonight, because that is not an easy ask. So I'm not a professional at anything, and I don't have a grand solution for any of these things, but I do believe that the burdens associated with survival get lighter if we face them in broad daylight with each other, rather than alone in the dark by ourselves. I think recognizing these feelings and giving them a name makes it easier to move through these feelings. On our own, the sorrow, pain, and fear can become so overwhelming, but if there's anything I know about us and our community, it's that we're not alone. We're never alone. I've never known more love, compassion, and resilience than I see in all of you. Nothing gives me more hope than coming here to this place and seeing a room full of people for the support groups. Nothing brings me more joy than talking with you guys about your lives, your milestones, and your growth. So even though the burden feels so cumbersome, and it's become really hard, honestly, to figure out what to say to you guys anymore, The reason I keep volunteering to do this is because of the love that I feel for all of you and for the rest of our community. And it's that love that makes the grief so heavy. It is such a blessing to feel so much sorrow. Our next speaker is Moonlight Miller.
Hello. I'm going to start by stating that I am gender fluid, and a big thing that is not talked about is that that is under the trans umbrella, as well as non-binary. So, dear brothers, sisters, and siblings, today we are here to remember and honor our transgender, non-binary, and fluid siblings who we lost. Right now, something so important in times like these is that the community of us comes together, not just to honor, but to come together as family, because we are a family. Blood isn't what makes someone family. It's the love and support from one another that makes someone family, an unbreakable bond and connection. If you ever feel alone, know that you are far from such. We always have each other. Be the light in the darkness for someone else, and be the rainbow in a gray, stormy clouds. And know that it's okay to have a rough day, but you are never truly alone. One of my favorite musical theater lyrics comes from Dear Evan Hansen, specifically the song You Will Be Found, and in that song it tells how you are not alone and someone will always find you and catch you when you fall. We are stronger as a community because we are family. Thank you. If we could welcome up Kim next, that'd be great.
I will be reading the names. And at the end of each name, I will ask if someone will stand for that person. And we've all gotten a picture. We've all gotten a picture. Oh, wow. Along with our pamphlets. And if you have that picture, we'd love it if you would stand. First, we have Grayson Kuhn, age 33, September 22nd, 2024, Santa Fe, New Mexico. Will someone stand for this person? We have Kyla Jane Walker, age 39, November 10th, 2024, in Austin, Texas. Relacia White, age 25, December 1st, 2024, in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Cam Thompson, age 18, December 16th, 2024, in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Johnny Adamau, age 29, December 31st, 2024, in Seattle, Washington. Aubrey Dameron, age 25, found January 25th, in Cardin, Oklahoma. Jay Lee, age 20, missing July 8th, 2022, body found February 2025 in Oxford, Mississippi. Tahiri Tokyo Broom, age 29, February 9th, 2025, in Detroit, Michigan. Sam Nordquist, age 24, February 2025, in Canandaigua, New York. Emery Dior, age 23, February 21st, 2025, in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Irviana Beatty Johnson, age 25, February 19th, 2025, in Tabor City, North Carolina. Linda Becerra Morin, age 30, February 27th, 2025, in Los Angeles, California. Katoria Kai Lacynthia Banks, age 31, March 31st, 2025, in Etoggaville, Alabama. Kelsey Elam, age 25, April 24th, 2025, St. Louis, Missouri. Shiparius Dupree, age 32, May 19th, 2025, in Memphis, Tennessee. Carmen Wells, age 37, May 25th, 2025, in Detroit, Michigan. Jax Gratton, age 34, June 6, 2025, Lakewood, Colorado. And I will stand for her. Laura Schwaler, age 47, June 7th, 2025, in Cincinnati, Ohio. Hope Laika Youngblood, age 49, June 7th, 2025, in Los Angeles, California. JJ Godbey, age 26, June 19th, 2025, in Canton, Ohio. Christina Hayes, age 28, June 21st, 2025, in Detroit, Michigan. Ezra Hullett, age 24, June 23rd, 2025, in the Dominican Republic. Kamora Woods, age 27, June 25th, 2025, in Indianapolis, Indiana. Dream Johnson, age 28, July 5th, 2025, in Washington, D.C. Eliza Wilson Louise Beckins, age unknown, July 13, 2025, in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Rosa Martinez Machuca, age 24, August 11, 2025, in Austin, Texas. Blair Sawyer, age 27, August 11, 2025, Louisville, Kentucky. Kasi Ria, age 31, August 18, 2025, in Lynchburg, Virginia. Onyx Cornish, age 18, August 19, 2025, Caldwell, Indiana. Pamela Leigh Walton, Julie Doe, age 25, September 25th, 1988, Claremont, Florida. Tiara Love Tori Jackson, age 37, September 26th, 2025, in Charlotte, North Carolina. Girl La La La, aka M. Harrison, age 21, November 14, 2025, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Anyone that's Anyone that's still seated, if you would please stand for the rest that are unknown. Thank you.
Stay standing for just a moment. If you have a candle, hold it up. When we work together, we can light up a room, and we can change the world. Please let me introduce Radiance, who's going to play a little for us before we conclude. You may be seated.
There's parts of this song I sing pretty quietly, so I put some words around. It's not a sing-along, maybe, but in case you want to know what I'm saying, if I don't articulate very well, some of you have the words on live stream. You can email me. Listen to the wind whispering through the golden autumn leaves, telling you the secret things you know you need to be free. Listen to the wind whispering through the falling autumn leaves, showing you the way of letting go, the way to eternal peace. Listen for the voice of guidance, show the way, driving out the mist and revealing a brand new day. Listen as the autumn wind calls your name, lifting the fog and leaving you reclaimed, lifting your hearts as you release your pain. The ancestors gather and you take your rightful place. Listen as the autumn wind calls your name. The wish of the wind is to guide you on your way. The wish of the wind is that you'd feel its safe embrace. The wish of the wind is to kiss your weary face. The wish of the wind is to gently ease your pain. You are holy. You are holy. You will never be forgotten. will never be forgotten. You are holy. You are holy. You will never be forgotten. You will never ever be forgotten. You will never be forgotten. You will never ever be forgotten. You will never be forgotten. Listen as the autumn wind calls your name. The wish of the wind is to guide you on your way. The wish of the wind is to guide you on your way. Lifting the fog and leaving you reclaim.
Thank you, Radiance. Wow, it feels like a heavy evening, doesn't it? Right? And that's because it is. And I think that we need to take a moment to acknowledge that feeling. So let's all just take a deep breath. In, hold it for a second, and then let it out. Let's do it again. In, hold for just a second, and then let it out. Mourning for those who have been taken from us, either through violence or self-harm, isn't an easy thing, never is. And these events, in particular, Transgender Day of Remembrance, she says as she drops her glasses, which means that she's now going to ad-lib. No, I'm good, yeah. Thank you, though. You always need a little comedy. But these days, in Transgender Day of Remembrance as a whole, they're difficult, but they're necessary. And they're necessary because they provide us an opportunity to talk about the issues that impact the lives of trans and gender-expansive people more broadly. This includes the excessive amount of violence that's perpetrated against transgender women of color. As I'm sure you've seen from the slideshow, at least 2/3 of the victims this year that we have documented are transgender women of color. And we probably need to talk even more about the issues of poverty and housing insecurity, the lack of family support, the lack of support from faith communities that make them targets. We need to be talking about the issues of suicidal ideation. We didn't say their names tonight because there's just too many. There's just too many to say of people who have taken their own lives, including 3 that we know of that live in or have ties to Pennsylvania. It also provides us an opportunity to shine a light on the issue of gun violence and the easy access to firearms in our society. More than half of the victims that we know about this year were victims of gun violence. Those are the heavy things. But this day also provides us an opportunity to talk about resilience. It can remind us of the challenges that our community faces, but it also brings us together It brought us together tonight. And when we gather together in numbers, we become stronger. Miss Major Griffin Gacy, who is one of the mothers of the LGBTQ rights movement, passed away recently. She lived a long and fruitful life. And she understood this. She understood that gathering together is critical for our survival. She knew that when we joined in community, that we not only build family, chosen family, but that we build the resilience that we need to get through the tough times. We're going to build the power that we need to win. And I know that we're going to continue to do that, and I want you to know that I've seen it. I saw it 2 weeks ago at the state capitol, where hundreds of queer people came to the Capitol for a joyous and loud and proud and peaceful march around the Capitol, just like marching around Jericho. It was a wonderful demonstration of pride. It was a wonderful demonstration of power. I've seen the power of our community when we packed the room in Allentown and we packed the room in Easton to get them to pass welcoming city ordinances and resolutions. We're trying to get it done in Bethlehem. Write to your city council people. We're trying to get it done in Reading. If you're from Reading, reach out to your city council members. We're trying to get it done in Scranton. If you're from the Scranton area, I know one of you is, write to your legislators up there. I see it every time. I see the power of our community every time our community groups gather together here at MCCLV on the second and third Saturdays of the month. Brennig talked about that. And I know that I see it when I look out at your faces. Power comes from chosen family and caring community. It comes when you seek out joy and compassion for others. Doing pretty good for not having my glasses. The power of our community builds resilience, and it's what's going to get us through these tough times, and it's how we're going to win. So I'm asking you to make sure you take a little bit of time tonight after we leave this room to gather together downstairs in joy, in advocacy, and in community, in chosen family. Stand together, stand firm in your convictions, build resilience together, remember your power, and exercise it. You can exercise your power by voting. You can exercise your power by donating. Give us money. Give MCC money. Right? Give the organizations that are doing the work, the ACLU and Lambda Legal and the others, give them money if you can. You can exercise your power by meeting with government leaders and school board members. You can do it by protesting. You can do it by writing letters to the editor. You can do it by providing mutual aid for people that are in need. Then when you're done with all that, by the way, we have an activity downstairs where we're going to make a list of all the ways we can exercise our power and become advocates, and I want you to participate in that activity. But then, once you're done with all that, encourage someone else to take up the cause too. Because this isn't a marathon, it isn't a sprint until the midterms. This thing's a relay race, and we're in for a few tough years. And that means that, when I get tired, I'm going to need you to pick up the baton and run for a little while. And then when you get tired, the next person picks up the baton and runs for a little while. I want you to understand the power of community. And I like the analogy of the butterfly. That is a really powerful symbol in our community, right? Because we start off as these little ugly, caterpillars, and then we blossom into these beautiful, beautiful beings. Just look at me. Drop dead gorgeous, right? But you look at monarchs, and they start off in Mexico, right? After this huge migration of their parents, flying thousands and thousands of miles to Mexico to birth those little ugly caterpillars, right? They migrate back, they make more, right? And they understand the power of community. They know that they are going to bloom and they're going to build something beautiful together. The power of community isn't just about that, though. It's also about action. Mother Jones was a great labor leader in the 19th century. She said that you mourn the dead, but that you fight like hell for the living. And that's what we need to do. I'm asking you to come together downstairs in community, enjoy some food, take a butterfly that was made by some of our support group members. They spend hours making origami butterflies. If you don't take those butterflies, they're going to be pissed off. Okay? But take a butterfly is a symbol of the people that we mourn tonight, but of the rebirth as well. Please join us for some food downstairs. Join us for some community downstairs. Join us for some joy downstairs. Thank you all so much for coming out tonight. Thank you. Go.